I hope you can see my screen. Okay. So I hope you can see my screen here. Yeah? Okay, cool. Welcome everybody. My name is Natale Vinto, developer advocate at Red Hat. Today, for this DevNation Tech Talk, we're going to talk about CodeReady Workspaces with this nice fancy title, Developer Joy for Distributed Teams with CodeReady Workspaces. Who am I? I'm a developer advocate at Red Hat OpenShift, computer engineer, solution architect, Free Software Foundation Europe member. Please add me on Twitter, use OpenShift, Che Joy hashtag. Feel free to drop me an email at nvinto@redhat.com. Let's start. So this is the School of Athens. It's a famous painting from Raphael. And why I'm talking to you about this? Because I was looking at this painting. This is a masterpiece, right? And if you look at it, there is on the left, you can find Plato. And on the right, you can find Aristotle. I was looking at this painting and I was thinking about, it looks like this Plato is saying dev, and it looks like Aristotle is for ops people. So Plato is famous for his philosophy around the world of forms and ideas, right? So Plato is better focusing just on coding, whatever infrastructure it takes. So better coding on cloud maybe. While Aristotle is focusing on the empiricist, so it's more on the infrastructural side. And if you look better on this painting, this can be the developer teams following the master architect Plato side, and this can be the ops team. So we have some bunch of project manager on the right and some finance here. You can see also a CIO that is not sure which technology to adopt to boost and get project faster. Developer team want to focus on just, coding, favorite runtimes. This person in particular maybe is dreaming about bar summit keynotes. And Node.js, for instance, any most famous runtime, Golang, they want to focus on those kind of things. And we have some pathfinder, right? We have some people that is studying things more advanced like cloud events, functions, serverless. On the ops side, we have people just definitely absolutely on Kubernetes. Those folks here want to just have Kubernetes following the master and maybe Knative for the serverless part. But this person here has some kind of illumination looking at the user. Don't forget the user. Ops people are just for user management, right? And then we have those people here. If you look there, they're distance. They watch with diffidence those Kubernetes folks here, those SRE folks. The security folks want just to focus on security. Here we have, we can say this is kind of DevOps, reading some Ansible playbook, converting it to an Ansible operator with operator SDK. So he's studying how to set up all these things for these people. This is a nice analogy just to introduce the concept. So at this point, I would like to ask you who you are. Are you a dev? Are you an ops? If you go to menti.com/this link, I hope somebody is sharing you in the chat, either the slide and the links. Please answer to this question. So we want to know if you are a Platonic developers or Aristotelic SRE ops. Just a joke to understand who are you in these events. Feel free to get some little time to collect all this information. When we'll just wait about 10, 20 seconds, and then we can watch on the results. If we have here, I guess some people already. So we have more Platonic developers at this moment, 13 people. Thank you for answering and participating to these calls. We waited a little bit if someone wants to join. We still have Platonic developers, so those people like more to focus on the word of the developer part. while we have also lots of people which are on the SRE Ops Aristotelic side in this cool analogy, small analogy that we did. So thank you for voting. It looks like Platonic developers are the most here in this audience. Let's go to the talk now. So this was just a little nice introduction, just to give you the context on why are we talking about CodeReady Workspaces, which is an online in-browser IDE. So we have two challenges for today's developer team and in general IT team. So development often happen on laptops. Developers maybe doesn't know what is Kubernetes. Sometimes they use containers. It's hard to move those developers in Kubernetes straight away. So we have some learning curve that we need to consider for developers that doesn't need absolutely to be a Kubernetes expert to just coding, right? Another challenge is about remote developing, which is increasing day by day. Here we have some stats, right? How long do you take for your first project contribution? It depends really on the environment setup. Some people take 2 to 5 days, some people take more, up to almost 1 month, those kind of person. But this is not acceptable, we think. And moreover, in this recent time, which everything is work from home, it's very important to get people enabled fast on project. We don't have much time to lose for setting environments. We want something that helps. What is Red Hat approach on this? Is just a Red Hat developer tools approach. We think that all the development should be in containers because they are isolated, immutable, moreover portable. So we can bring whatever in cloud, hybrid cloud, private cloud, whatever we want. We want to reduce this setup time, right? The second challenge we were talking about was about the fact that we lose too much time on setting up environment, laptops. We don't have dependencies. We don't know how to configure all the things. So we have to reduce drastically this time. And we want to enable developer and teams to make better decisions. We want to make them to focus on the code and the architecture. We don't want them to lose time on setting up environments. We want also an improvement in standardization to the end-to-end process. Just no single task. We want everything to be connected in the developer loops. And here we are, another analogy. This is Eclipse Che Developer Joy. This is another famous painting from Michelangelo. This is the creation of Adam, of God's gift to Adam. Put the finger next to Adam's hands, just give the hands to the humanity, right? In this analogy, we're saying, okay, we're giving to developers this out with Eclipse Che, which is the upstream project of CodeReady containers. And here we have some nerd cool stuff to agree on that. Eclipse Che does CodeReady containers is the Kubernetes native IDE for developer teams, run natively on Kubernetes, does run on Red Hat OpenShift. So you can have it running on your cluster, OpenShift cluster straight away with an operator, pretty easy and very, very cool to use. We were talking about CodeReady developer tools because this is part of a portfolio where we have OpenShift developer tools. We have OpenShift Duo CLI. So this is a CLI specific tool for developers. We have CodeReady containers, which is our mini cube for having OpenShift on laptop. We have Eclipse Che. So we have this online IDE, CodeReady Workspaces, which is our product around this online in-browser IDE. And we have also the developer console now. All the tooling, the plugins for this IDE, the plugins for your favorite desktop IDE like Visual Studio, and all the tools. We have also some SaaS tool like CodeReady Toolchain and hosted Eclipse Che. This is our 360-degree offer around developer tools. Let's get into CodeReady Workspaces. So CodeReady Workspaces now is in GA in version 2.2. You find available on OpenShift cluster. You can download from operator app inside OpenShift cluster. What's the benefit? Is based on Eclipse Che upstream project, Eclipse Che 7. It's based on Kubernetes-based developer workspace. So we don't lose time to set up environments for developers. but we run Kubernetes. If you remember the ops people, the Aristotelian one, was following the master saying Kubernetes is the way, and we have Kubernetes developer workspaces. So easy to set up, easy to start these workspaces. Just pick your favorite runtime and you can start coding from that. We have this TIA editor, which is a look and feel really similar to Visual Studio. So people that love Visual Studio will find very familiar. And we will look on the demo after how it looks like. And then we have this dev file. Dev file is the way we program those workspaces. So if you want just to extend those workspaces, put more customization, you can use this dev file. It's a YAML file that will help you writing those workspaces. This is the overall offer with Red Hat CodeReady Workspaces. We claim that this is Kubernetes with zero effort because you just focus on the code. The workspaces will set up for you an environment on Kubernetes just to code. And those are isolated. You can protect your code. It's never cloned. So if you think about when your company having a multiple supplier or multiple developer teams, and you want them to code directly only in this environment, you don't want to share the code with a temporary contributors, you can have CodeReady Workspaces, put the code in the workspaces and lives only in the OpenShift because this is running all in the cloud, right? Can be also on-prem if you have OpenShift on-prem, but run in a Kubernetes cluster. We have developer environment as a code, and as we say, we support aircraft install. So disconnected installation for your disconnected OpenShift cluster. Let's get a little bit, have a little bit deep dive on workspaces. So we understand what is a workspaces. Those workspaces in our Kubernetes pod containing some containers, which represent the developer sandbox running on OpenShift. So you can have your favorite runtime, you can have your favorite build tool, and you can have, moreover, the source code where to start with. This little animation shows how it's made this workspace. So the workspace is a pod for us. And the most important thing is, of course, the source code. So we want to put the source code inside the workspace, and we want to mount something. We want to mount tools. We want to mount the build environment, the runtime environments. We want to mount the test environment and the debug environment. These things we used to do in a desktop IDE. We need to collect all the information, all the dependencies, all the runtime environment. This is made out of the box from CodeReady Workspaces when you set up the new workspace. And this is how it looks like. You have a runtime, you have your executable, and then you have the dependencies. So it's easy also to manage those workspaces because basically they are containers. Let's go into the editor. About the editor, the look and feel I was talking to you about is based on Eclipse Che, and this is really similar and with Visual Studio look and feel. So if you love Visual Studio, this will be really familiar for you. The editor support the code autocomplete. You have the terminal, Git integration, lots. You're gonna benefit from Visual Studio Code extension that you can use. In fact, inside the IDE, you can pick your favorite plugin, can be specific to Eclipse Che, CodeReady Workspaces, or can be Visual Studio Code specific extension. So there's a broad of extension that you can use and you can take benefit. Let's go to the dev file because we will have also a little demo on the dev file in order to customize those workspaces for our teams. The dev file is a declarative abstraction of component that we want to use inside our workspace. So if you want to decide what you want to put in your workspace, the dev file is the best way to do it. It's a YAML file. If you remember the workspace definition, build them, runtime, tools, editor, you have all in it, and you have the source code and project. So the dev file is the way we use to program our workspaces. This nice button here we will use later on for the demo. If you click on it, it's gonna start the workspaces starting from your dev file definition. So it is fully automatic as you want. I want to show you also this dev file example here. So if you see, we were talking about, this is a YAML file. It describes our workspace. And the workspace is a sum of components like, the build env, the plugin env, the project, the source code where to start with. So let's get inside this. The first thing is the project information. We want to start with a project inside the workspace, and we have to declare where to pick the code. It can be Git, can be also zip file inside the plugin registry of your CodeReady Workspace instance. Then you want to declare a list of components. So you have the list of plugins. You can, in this case, we have the Che plugin inside. We can have multiple plugins installed, right? If you want to have multiple extensions, you can write in the file directory. The plugin component is also the one we were talking about. And now let's go to the other part, the runtime image. The runtime image is the container that run your build command. Let's say we have this Maven example here, and we want just to run the Maven build, the Maven package. Those are the environment variable that we need. Those are the memory limits, the endpoint, so we can program this part. The environment variable are also important if you want to inject them into the container, or as well the endpoint. So the dev mode for your Kubernetes application is kind of the definition is a supercharge for your tool, and you just focus on start coding. This tool is really made for team. Why? You can manage consistency because you have those environment that developer can use and start with without any pain. They can just start from developer workspace, create it or extend those. They are easy to integrate. I can integrate them with my tools because if you remember, I can put multiple components and plugins. It's simple to share. Dev file is a YAML file. You put in your Git repo. We will see in the demo later. You just put in your Git repo, click on the button, and OpenShift will let CodeReady Workspaces start the creation of your workspace with a technology called Factory. It's extendable for sure because you can add multiple plugins and you can add the multiple settings. Wrapping up, what are the benefits for the ops people? If you remember here, we have Aristotelic one, ops people, we have security guys. Enable multiple teams on a project faster. We want to enable our team on the project. We don't want to lose time on setting environment, right? We want to ensure the multi-tenancy. If I want to use my OpenShift cluster with multiple tenants or multiple teams or multiple customers that I want to serve also, I can split those and I can let all those different developer teams integrated in the platform thanks to the single sign-on implementation in CodeReady Workspaces based on Clickwalk. The integration out of the box with OpenShift, Airbag, and out is very straightforward. You can integrate all those users. You have a single source of user management, and you can take benefit from OpenShift or Auth2 for integrating all those teams we were talking about. And security loves it, if you see, because they ensure also the security. It's easy to deploy and maintain CodeReady Workspaces in an OpenShift cluster through an operator. If you remember, the DevOps was reading an Ansible playbook here, thinking about an operator to manage all the things. This is the way to manage also CodeReady Workspaces. And I suggest you to grab this book here from my mate Jason David and Joshua Good. You can have this link about how to write your favorite operator. Please download it. It's very nice. What are the benefits for the dev people? If you remember here, we have Plato talking about the word of the coding, word the idea, the abstraction. We don't want to lose time on setting up the infrastructure. We just want to code. No ticket to open. Everything is ready and self-service. It's easy to extend, and the dev files and the plugins, easy to extend the workspaces. We just rely on the code. We don't want to rely on the infrastructure. And this increases the productivity as CheJoy. You can use the hashtag CheJoy on Twitter. And here we go. So this introduction to introduce us to the demo we have BB King here, gently introducing here us to this little demo. If you go to this link here, this is a notes link. I will use this one for putting some routes from a URL we can use from the demo. So let's get started. You can use this link this is the link I was talking to you about. Here we have the link of the example we are using, the example organization, because we want to just simulate a real use case, right? This is an OpenShift cluster, and I am the ops admin. I'm in this moment, I'm in the Aristotelic part. What I want to do at the beginning is, if you see, this is an administrator view. I can see all the usage of my cluster, of my pod running. This is great. I hope the font is good to read for you. I want to talk to you about, let's imagine we have a team on GitHub, right? We want to enable this team. The first thing as a host that we want to do is just enable this team very easily with OpenShift OAuth2 integration we were talking about, right? I can just add an identity provider here. I can add just GitHub, putting my client ID, client secret. I want to add, for instance, this organization, the Red Wine organization. In this case here, there are a bunch of projects we can use. I want just to add those organizations. And let me show you. Let me log in here. I want just those people to log into the cluster. There is Madhu, my great colleague, working on those nice, very cool demos. There is Chris in this case. This comes also from the Twitch stream we had last time. So I want just those people log into the class and work on CodeReady Workspaces, right? So let's go back to the cluster. So we know we have added some identity provider. The first thing I need to do, the second thing I need to do also as ops person, I need to install CodeReady Workspaces. So we were talking about the operator. If you remember the person looking at the Ansible playbook or thinking about an operator to solve this issue, this is the place where to install the operator. You can pick your favorite context. For the CodeReady Workspaces here, it's just simple as it. You can just install the operator. I already did it. So you have just installed the operator. Once you install the operator, that takes few seconds. You have this operator. Those are the installed operator for this cluster. In this example, I installed this operator in the Che project, Che namespace of my choice. When you install the operator, what you have is the capability to manage a CodeReady Workspaces cluster through a custom resource, the Kubernetes way, right? So you have some subscription, you have your operator. Really easy to manage the cluster. There is some also UI integration. If you want to integrate people in OpenShift integration, you have to flag this. If you want TLS, yes, we want. We care about security. You can flag about this. The operator will be in charge to manage all the things. And you can also customize your Che cluster custom resource. For this example here, we wanted the workspace per project, we want a number of 10. We are using this custom plugin registry image. We decided we want this storage strategy for the workspace. So the ops people can really control this from the operator side. So really simple and straightforward. All the resources are created, by the way. And this is the CodeReady Workspaces installation. This is the topology. You have the Che server. This is the workspace server. Then you have some dev file registry. Here we store the dev file. The plugin registry. Here we store the plugins. And we have also the key clock for the single sign-on and Postgres from some persistent. So all the topology is managed by operator. Very simple as it. So let's go finally into CodeReady. This is the ops part, right? We have the administrator. We want those people we were talking about on the Red Wine software organization just start coding. It's very easy. I can copy the link of CodeReady Workspaces. Let me log out from here from my super user. This is my GitHub integration, right? I can log in with my GitHub user. If you remember, I'm allowed to join that organization. I'm part of that organization, and I can see those projects here, right? So I can work on it. the first thing I can do as a developer is look at my project. So here I have a bunch of projects, but at the moment I just want to start with CodeReady Workspaces. So let's imagine the administrator gave to us the CodeReady Workspaces URL. If you remember, we have the OAuth 2 authentication, so we can authenticate through OpenShift, taking benefit from the GitHub integration. And here we can get started on the IDE. If you remember, we had those workspace where we can start with. We can pick our favorite language. Can be Java with Quarkus, can be .NET, can be Node.js. Very easy to start with all of that. So for instance, let's start with a Quarkus application. We want to start coding some Java application, and then we can see also some Node.js mockup. I want to show you that you can have single tier, two tier, and multiple tier in the same workspace environment. When you click on this button, what happens under the hood? And we can see in our project here, CodeReady is creating some pods representing for us the workspace which is coming on. So we have some pod creating in the workspace. We have some storage because we want a persistence. We don't want to lose our code, right? So we have also some code here, some storage to manage. So if we look on the topology side, we know that this is a pod. The workspace is a pod created by CodeReady Workspaces server, initializing with all the tools and settings that we need. When this setup is finished, what I will have here is the TIA UI, and I can just start coding on that. When this is finished, imagine you have multiple teams, right? And you can pre-pull all these images. You can make it very, very fast. It's very nice to have this because you have a consistent way to have your workspace. The only thing you have to care about is to ensure that the WebSocket here are not blocked. So if you are running under some proxy, please verify that WebSocket are not blocked. If your WebSocket are good, then you are ready to go and start coding with CodeReady Workspaces. This is our TIA, and this is the Visual Studio-like look and feel, right? If you remember, it's very similar. When you start the workspace, you have some welcome page, of course. Let me also start increasing the font so you can see it better. Let me go into the code. I want to show you that this is some Java code that we have here. And let me increase the font for you because I was also start coding. So this is a Quarkus sample application, right? We have some integration here that we can use. Let's go to the terminal also. If you remember, we can have also some containers definition in our dev file for our environment. So here we have, for instance, the Maven container. And in the Maven container, of course, we have, if you can see it, we have Maven command. So we can run our Maven command here. So very simple to start with CodeReady Workspace. We have some task, configured task. So we can run those tasks here. Just if we want just to test locally, we can start the application with the dev mode of Quarkus. This is a Java Quarkus application. We are just running in the dev mode locally. So this exists, if you remember, only in the workspace pod. And this is a preview URL, right? This is created out of the box for you by OpenShift. Let me show you that this is just a route that points to this pod here, and is part of the routing that we have available here. So if you just go to this one, and I will make sure to increase the font for you, so you can see, you can also access that, and I will put in our workspace route URL, so you can also, if you like, you can also click on that. Let me just grab the link correctly and give to you, just to say that we're not saying false things. Okay, so this is a very, very nice. Now, very nice. And Quarkus application. I can start modifying my code in place. I don't need to restart things. So this is Quarkus, right? Very nice, very cool. The modification of the code is done. let's imagine that we want to add a new function here. If you can see the code, I want to add a public string DevNation function under the hello REST point, under the hello microservices. So here DevNation, and we want to return something like CodeReady Workspaces routes. Yeah, let me write it down. Okay, now we have to put a bunch of annotation. Of course, we have this is a GET request. I want to show you that there is also a completion. You can pick your favorite class that you need to import, because there is the language server that runs for you, right? So this is valid for Java, it's valid for Node, for any programming language you want to pick. And the one you see in the CodeReady Workspaces list as the one that we support also. And also we want to change a little bit the path. We want this to go into DevNation. So this is a hello DevNation. Let's save this and let's restart all the things here. Maybe to show you here in this route. So the hello keeps as hello, and hello DevNation. This is a little typo. DevNation CodeReady Workspaces route. Yes, it is. Yes, it does. Okay, so we have demonstrated that it's very easy to do this testing log. We are just testing log. We are not giving anything on OpenShift, not publishing anything. The most important thing we need to do is, test the code, build the code, and test the code. Now we did some modification, but we didn't really touch the test. So this may fall because we didn't modify the test in this project. In fact, this is failing. Let's go to the test here. There was some test claiming there was some hello, and let's write our nation here. Okay, now that we updated the test, we can start packaging again the application. So if you see, I want to show you that those under the hood are just run configuration, just Maven commands. When this finish, the build is success now, the test is good. Is good. Let's configure the task here. Those tasks that we want to configure as just part of the dev file. And here we are doing Maven package, Maven compile, Quarkus dev. So those are the parts that we can extend and modify, right? This is pretty cool. So we understood how to start with a simple Java application. Let's do, this is one tier. Let's do a two tier. Let's go to CodeReady Workspaces again. So this is our environment. We can keep it running. It doesn't matter. I created before this one, maybe so this Node.js one. Maybe we can just run it or create it from scratch as you want. I was creating just to save a little bit of time. And in the while it starts, I wanted to show how it's made the workspace. So this is a two-tier Node.js workspace. In the same workspace, I have the container for the Node.js application and the Mongo application. This is my project. Those are my plugins. I want to use here. I'm using only Node plugin at the moment. This is my editor. If you see, this is a Eclipse Che editor. And this is the dev file. If you want, I want to share this with my colleagues, with my teams. I can just share this and put in the Git repo. And I will show you in the next part of the demo how to click the button and start your complex source environment from there. So we started the Node.js example here. Let's open it. When you start it, you remember, it will just create a new workspace here. So this is another workspace containing Node, containing a MongoDB. And when you start it, you have the same look and feel as before. So you have the project explorer. You have the plugin integration here. So you can run your terminal queries. And what you can do here is also explore this code. And I want to start modifying also this code here. I want to show you, this is a MongoDB and Node.js, right? We are connecting to a Mongo here, and we are just doing our application. Node.js application, our run tasks here are a little bit different from the Java one. We have to run npm install for first in order to initialize. those tasks run always on the workspace. They are not affecting any, deployment on OpenShift, right? And we are just working on our workspace under our quota. So if the ops are giving to us some quota, we are inheriting those quota and working beyond in those limits. Once we have resolved all the dependencies in Mongo, we are connecting to the local instance in Mongo here, and I'm going to show you this local instance. And this is our CodeReady guestbook. So let me open here, which is more. So this lives only in CodeReady Workspaces. I'm putting the other route here. You can click on the guestbook one. So I'm going to write this lives in hello from CodeReady Workspaces. So this lives only in CodeReady Workspaces, right? Let's start modifying the code, because also here we want to start modifying our code. So we have some view here. We want to just have, instead of my guestbook, my DevNation guestbook. So also we save and we refresh the page, and we have our route that is presenting our guestbook route here. So my DevNation guestbook. Feel free to leave a message on this. The URL is on the doc. So this is my change. Let's see. I want to change something from Git. This was not a Git repo, but it's easy to initialize the repo here. You can initialize, for instance, Git for this folder and start editing the code for Git. So you can add to workspaces this one. So all the changes you made are visible through a diff. In this case, everything is new. So we are not looking at the diff. Another cool thing that we were talking about was the plugins, right? Was about the plugins. So we want to pick any of these plugins from Visual Studio on CodeReady Workspaces. Let's pick the OpenShift one, right? We want, at this stage, we want to deploy on OpenShift. We verify that our changes are good on the workspace sides. Now we want to push the code on OpenShift. Let's make our developer project, and then maybe some Tecton pipeline. We promote this to the production. In this case, we are restarting the workspace because this needs to restart the plugin on the word. If you remember, this is a container, so the plugin needs to be injected. Once it is downloaded, the process needs to be restarted. Once we are done with this, we can, from the OpenShift connector, create a project in OpenShift and push this code, right? So as developer, I don't know anything about OpenShift, right? About Kubernetes even. I'm just coding, starting some npm commands. I have some local instance, Mongo instance here, and I can just start coding on the side. So if you have your workspace then restarting, we can also see this part. After it is restarted, you can have multiple workspaces. The ops people decide how many workspaces you can have per project, per user. So this is a nice ops feature. You can control from the Che cluster custom resource from the operator. Now we restarted. If you see here, we have some extension. We have the OpenShift extension, and we have the Kubernetes extension, right? Here we are already logged in. If you want to log into the cluster again, it's easy. Just logging in the cluster. We can log in again back. But let's go back to the code. So now we have our code here. We have our change. We want the title to be DevNation Guestbook. I want to show you also that there was a Mongo container here. So this is the Mongo container. This is really running Mongo. And I have in my workspaces, about the terminal part, we have also the part for Node.js. So this is the container in the same pod running the Node container. Now I want to push this on OpenShift. Let's start creating a new project, for instance. Let's call it, this is a guestbook app. Let's start a new project. And then let's start creating a new component. We can create a new application. We can call it guestbook app, for instance. And we can pick whatever we want to. We want to start from Git. We want to start from a binary file. We're going to start from the directory from CodeReady Workspaces. This take benefit from Odo, OpenShift Do CLI, if you remember the developer CLI, that can do also source to image build for us. So we don't know anything about Kubernetes, right? We don't know anything about OpenShift. We are just giving the root source of this structure here. And we have just to give the name of this component can be guestbook, and the component type in our case would be Node.js. Let's use the latest before pushing this to OpenShift. If you remember, this is a Node.js application connecting to Mongo. So we really need to deploy Mongo in some way. Our ops people can give to us some YAML file, Kubernetes YAML file, OpenShift YAML file, some operator to help us. But if we don't know anything, let's do a self-service, right? Let's go to our project. We need a Mongo database. I'm a developer. I don't know anything about Kubernetes. I just want a database. I don't want to open a ticket for it. Let's order a MongoDB database. The value that we need to put here are the one that we see here. So user, password, MongoDB. I'm sorry, security team, this is just a demo. So let me fill this. I want to order MongoDB with the user, password, and the database name will be guestbook, and the password will be as well password. Sorry, security teams. Everything looks fine. When you create this, OpenShift will create for you a MongoDB instance, which is persistent. This is a persistent one. You can also verify this is a persistent. A MongoDB database has been created on a persistent volume, in this case on Amazon AWS, but it is transparent for OpenShift thanks to the dynamic storage provisioning part. So it can be any of this. I created my database. I created my persistent volume. I can check from the log that everything is fine. My database started good. So if everything is fine here and I have my database, let's come back here. If you remember, we have some application we need to push. Push means auto push. It's the command with the auto CLI that push to the OpenShift platform. Our source code will be merged in a container. So we are pushing the source code automatically created with a container. And we can verify from here that we are doing this. And as a UI developer console user, this is part of developer tools, if you remember, we can just also have some, application grouping. We want to have this beautiful grouping that we have in the OpenShift console. And we also want to add an OpenShift route, right? We want to reach this application. So let's create a route directly from here. We just created a route. We don't want a secure route for this case. We need to push the route. If you remember, after you do the things, we need to push the components you create, and then you push with audio. And we can also logically connect to the database. So if everything is fine on the database and everything is fine on the application side, because this is my node code I'm deploying to the platform directly, right? This claims is connected to the database. And yes, finally, I can reach my application. So this is my DevNation guestbook. I will put this on our notes here. This is the other routes. So this exists in OpenShift, not in a workspace anymore. We are promoting this to our dev environment. So we are starting doing maybe integration test. So yes, let's leave another comment here, like hello from OpenShift. So you can use this if you want to leave your comment, your hello. So we have seen one tire, two tire, like Latins will say, dulcis in fundo. So the best at the end, even if it's not always the best thing to do. I want to show you the power of the dev file. So let's imagine we are in Red Wine Software, and some smart colleague, as Madhu here, created some very nice multi-tier and multi-microservices application. We have some Quarkus backend. We have some Spring Boot backend also. We have a Vertex API gateway, and we have some Node.js web UI. So this is, microservices application is not one tier, two tier. This is a multiple tier. So the best things to start with is through the dev file. if you remember, if you just click here, what happens under the hood inside OpenShift and CodeReady Workspaces, the dev files start to be read by the engine, and the workspace is starting to be created. So everything that is written in the dev file, and let me go back in the GitHub one, because I want to show you how is made the dev file. So here we are creating some workspaces like we were creating from the UI, but here we are just using the factory feature. So dev file, we're starting from some source code here, some branch. In this case came from a great Madhu cloud native workshop, and we are adding some tasks. If you remember, the build, the run, the test, those can be really arbitrary. We can make some tasks to create some code, for instance, to run a pipeline. We can make some tasks to maybe do other deployment, running some script. Can be really customizable for us. And in case of multi-tier microservices-based application, it really makes sense to have such kind of dev file, right? So let's wait. This will start. In the while, I can show you what is happening under the hood, always in this CodeReady project. So if you remember, this was our Quarkus one. If you remember, this was our Node.js one. Now we are creating a single workspace, multiple pods. And we are creating the most famous Red Hat Cool Store. When this finish, we will have all the things set in place. I don't know if we have the time to show everything, but in case we don't have the time, we have also it already deployed, and I can show you how it looks like. But this is really similar to what we did before, right? We just created the microservices, created the project, created everything. After this is finished, we have our workspace. And here, for instance, Madhu wrote in the dev file that we want the OpenShift plugin, we want the Kubernetes plugin, we want even the Tecton plugin. If you remember, if we are okay with local testing, then there's no need for us to test again. Maybe we can just have a Tecton pipeline and promote this to the dev test stage environment. And I want to show you also that we are using multiple plugin here. Also a custom plugin, the workshop plugin that contains many tools like Odo and OC and Tecton, and can be also Knative pipeline. We can have also custom plugin that we can manage, and we have also our multiple custom command here. So if for instance we can have a custom command just to generate some skeleton code that we need to use for our new project. Imagine I'm new in the team, I don't know anything to start with. I have some generation over that. If you remember, this is the Quarkus application. We can start testing locally, and then we can start pushing into OpenShift. So the same thing also here. So we can have the inventory. Imagine we are just in charge of developing this Quarkus microservices, right? We just want to develop this Quarkus part, and the other people need to develop the other part, but we need to test everything together. So I'm just testing the Quarkus part here. This is a simple inventory part for the Red Hat Cool Store. If you see here, this is the how it will looks like at the end. This is the e-commerce with microservices, and we are generating it from CodeReady Workspace. So if you remember, we have our preview here. We can have our, if we wait a little bit, that the application will start. Then we have our Quarkus microservices to test locally, and I can put here on the link. I'm putting on the link from here directly. I'm sorry about that. So let's get into it. We have tested that everything is fine here, right? Now what we want to do is running, so we can stop this task here. We are using, in this case, H2, just an H2 database. and we want to push it to the platform. First thing, if you remember, we need to build the application. So you can look for your favorite task. You can also add your task, modifying the task. In this case here, we are connected directly to Maven Central of Maven Red Hat repository. We can also have some nexus that help us speeding this developing. So now what we want to do now is pushing this into a new project inside the platform. So we have the plugin here. For instance, if you are not logged in, you can log in again into the cluster, right? You can give the token for the authentication. I want to log in, and this has for you the better token that you can bring for your copy login command. So from your OpenShift platform, you can have the OC command to connect, the API command to connect, and then you can have your better token you can use from CodeReady Workspaces. So here we want to connect in OpenShift. We just connected to OpenShift, and everything should be fine. Let me see if we have it. No, not yet. Something happened on the visualization side. Let me refresh here. Let's see if we are lucky to have it. Otherwise, I can show you on the other demos part I was doing. Let's see if we have it. And we are activating all the plugins here. We have to wait a little bit that everything is activating. Maybe it requires a little time because it contains lots of things to download. We are activating Quarks. Okay, let's wait a little bit. If we are just running out of time here, we are activating all the things. I just wanted to show you that this was deployed on the Cool Store project. And at the end, we were in charge also on the inventory part. The CodeReady Workspaces tasks were deploying this part here. And then we could deploy the front end from the self-service catalog like we did before. And at the end, we had the Cool Store demo deployed from CodeReady Workspaces. Another nice things to see, what automatically was added here. If you want to edit the source code here, you click and you start the factory. So OpenShift console have the capability to add this UI feature or let you start the workspace automatically once you created the environment. So if you imagine you can share this project with other people, you can just start and let them start with their CodeReady Workspaces instance, and they can log in CodeReady Workspaces or Eclipse Che. It depends on what you installed in the cluster, and you can start coding from that. So this is was just to show you that there are plenty of way to develop application in CodeReady Workspaces. For this part here, I really recommend you to have a look on it, pick your favorite workspaces, try to use it, start coding with it, and have fun because it's really, really nice tool. And I will put here the link of the Cool Store demo, started from the dev file in this case. Final things for this demo. It went a little bit longer, sorry about that, but there are lots of things to show. So please download CodeReady containers. If you are looking at the slide, please download CodeReady containers. This is our Minikube. You can have OpenShift in your laptop. You just start using Red Hat OpenShift in your laptop, and you can start installing CodeReady Workspaces. So all the demo we did today, you can do in your own one. The only thing you need to care about here, I just want to show you, if you want to create your own dev file click button like fantastic way, just change this URL here. This is the my CodeReady Workspaces instance. Just change this URL here, put your own one, and you can have the factory example as we see into the. Just click on the button and it will start the factory for you. CodeReady, so download CodeReady containers. Go to learnopenshift.com for free online self-paced learning labs. If you want to learn about OpenShift, developing technology, go to this Code labs, very easy to use. Please join our DevNation master course, Tech Talks, and more. I really thank you for your patient for your audience, and I'm looking forward to hear from you any feedback for this demo and for CodeReady Workspace. Okay.
Well, I'm going to try my audio again, so hopefully you can hear me, and I'm hearing you back through Twitch.
Okay. I don't know if it was at the end went through.
Yeah, so there's actually a couple questions that we should throw at you real fast.
Okay. The question, what are the questions?
One is BPMN can use the Cogito plugins, or what VS Code plugins can use?
So you can use basically all the VS Code extension. What you have to do is to add your plugin, custom plugin registry. So the Red Hat flavored one is shipped with some extension that you can use. If you want to use multiple one, you can just use all the VS Code extension. But please use your custom plugin registry, like also we did in the demo. We were using, for instance, the Madhu's plugin registry for having multiple plugins. You can use your own, and if you go to accessredhat.com, there is the guide on how to do it. It's very simple. Just create a container, and you have your custom plugin registry, and add your favorite VS Code extension.
Okay. And have you ever tried integrating with like Slack or Google Meet or any of those third-party kind of products for collaboration?
Oh, nice. I haven't tried yet for those kind of collaboration. I know there is plugins for collaboration. If you see, we were using there is the GitHub plugin, for instance, for the pull request integration, the issues integration. There is the technical plugin. There are lots of plugins. You can also write your own plugin. So if it is a VS Code extension, it can also be used, as we were saying. So I haven't tried personally, but it would be possible to do it for sure.
Okay. Well, we should get out of here. It's funny. I'm dealing with a delay because based on where the audio is coming from, I can hear myself and then hear a delay. And I'll have to fix this on our OBS box because we got a video or audio driver that went out on us today. But we had a lot of fun. We were live streaming on Twitch. We were doing it on YouTube. Lots of people on YouTube. Lots of great chat. David Bush, by the way, says this is his favorite DevNation ever with all your live demoing. So that's a huge compliment. So thank you for that, David, by the way. And we do need to get out of here because we are actually way over our time. This 35-minute presentation went a little bit longer, didn't it, Natale?
1 hour. I'm sorry about that, but there was lots of things to show. I hope it was fun.
Yeah, lots of very cool things. But thank you so much for your time today. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We hope you enjoyed the session. We'll be coming back to you next Thursday with even more cool stuff. Look for us on the website. And, of course, you'll get the email from me to let you know that this thing is coming. So more good DevNation coming your way in the future. Thank you so much.
Bye.